Hey, what's up, Walking Dead family? Name's Brian Castrillo, and I want to do a reaction video to Home Sweet Home, the first episode of the 6 extra episodes of season 10. Now, it's been a long day for me, so I'm going to seem like I'm rambling. I got off of work at around 11 o'clock, got home at about midnight. My son was up late, and I had to see that final episode of WandaVision. Brilliant series. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I can go on, but that's for another video. Anyways, I want to touch on a lot of the stuff on this episode. I give it about an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. The episode was suspenseful. It was insightful. It was it was emotional. There was callbacks to the comics. There was callbacks to past characters like Beth Green. Just an overall great episode. It was amazing to see Lauren Cohan back in her role, and she reminded us of why we missed her so much. Now. One of the first things I want to talk about is that conversation with Daryl and Maggie. And Maggie's talking about how her and Glenn had talked about, and this was right after Beth died, about going to her Nana's by the ocean. But of course that never happened. But she ended up bringing Herschel Jr. over there just to kind of, talk to Herschel about the family and just kind of give him a moment that she could never give with her and Glenn. Really touching moment. It was very emotional. And of course, hearing Beth's name again, that brought back a lot of emotions because that was a sad death as well. There was also, and probably my favorite scene in the whole thing was when our group was being hunted by the Reapers, and I'm going to get into that towards the end of the episode, but there was a moment where Kelly was talking to Elijah, and now Elijah, of course, is the man with the iron mask. He's got the hoodie. We saw him in the previous final episode where he came in and saved Father Gabriel. He was badass. He, of course, had the scythe, and he was going crazy killing people, but we saw him talking with Kelly when this guy was, going around trying to kill everybody, and he was visibly shaking. He was scared, and it was kind of like a real, human moment for him, and it kind of seems like we're gonna get sort of a relationship, whether friends or maybe something more, but Elijah and Kelly really kind of connected there. Really emotional, really beautiful scene, and it was one of my favorite scenes of the whole episodes. But also Maggie, back on with the conversation with Daryl, she mentioned how she was living in Knoxville and Georgie and the twins had gone out west. Who knows what they're doing over there? We'll probably find out about it later. But there was also another one of my favorite moments was after, the Reaper was taken out or whatnot. You see Maggie and Daryl walking up to a tree, and then all of a sudden this like nut or something was thrown from a tree and bounced right off Maggie's head, which kind of made me giggle. And then you look up and you see little Herschel just sitting up there, and he's like, "Hey, Mom," which kind of reminded me of when season 1, episode 1, when Rick's in the tank and you hear Glenn, his father, say, "Hey, dumbass." Just kind of reminded me of that. They both got the hat. It just sort of a callback to Glenn. But it was a beautiful scene. It made me laugh, and that big smile by Maggie's, and you see Daryl in the background just kind of like in awe. He finally seen Herschel grown up, because of course last time he seen him he was very little. But an amazing scene there. But let's get into these Reapers now. Who are they? Who is this guy? Who are the Reapers? What do they want? Why are they going out randomly killing? Now this was a very creepy scene. The music, the score in the background, the sound effects, you hear it just made it really creepy and scary. Now they're going around and this guy's randomly picking off some of Maggie's group. You see the first guy get shot, from behind through the neck. He shot the other characters, and to kind of draw Maggie and Daryl Elijah and Cole um, as kind of like a trap. But it was a very suspenseful scene. I really liked it. But when they finally caught him, one of the things he said is, "The Pope marked you," after Maggie was grilling him. What does the Pope marked you? What does that mean? Who is the Pope? And of course, then he reaches into his jacket or his vest, and he has a hand come out, and in his hand is a pull ring from a grenade, and then of course everyone ducks. Maggie says, "Get down," as he blows himself up, which is kind of odd. Like, why would he just blow himself up? Um, it's kind of, that has to have, whoever is in control of the Reapers must be pretty powerful, to have that type of control where you're willing to kill yourself over this. It kind of reminded me, honestly, to Fear the Walking Dead, when in the episode Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg, when Ginny's following this guy from the End is the Beginning group, and she's trying to get information out of her, and then you see this girl just kind of a coy smile, and she mentions that you're afraid, and then she takes the gun shortly after that and kills herself. This guy, the Reaper, he kind of smiled right before he pulled out the pin and blew himself up. It just kind of reminded me of that scene. I don't know if they're connected, but who knows? Let's kind of dig deep into who the Reapers could be. Now, in the comics, well, before we get to the comics, I want to bring up that this guy, he is actually an actor from The Saviors. Back in season 7, I believe he lasted 8 and 9, but we don't know what happened to him. He took off. He clearly survived. Now, this could be just a reuse of an actor. I mean, they've done it before. I believe the Vatos, they took one of the actors and reused him. I mean, it happens all the time, so it may be nothing. But what I was going to get on the comics, there was there was a group. Basically, Dwight and Sherry ended up coming back, and there was a bunch of saviors that were still around. And this was, directly after the Whisperer War. And they see Negan, and they're all kneeling to him, and they're just they couldn't believe he was alive, and they just sort of pledging their allegiance to him. But I believe Negan just kind of told them to go their way, and that's not who he was anymore. So could this guy be a former savior, and created the Reapers and whoever the Pope is, and then all of a sudden they get to Alexandria, and maybe this scene is going to unfold. I don't know if we're going to see Dwight and Sherry over in The Walking Dead, but maybe in season 11. But could that be the same savior, or are they just reusing this actor? Now, that would be kind of cool, a cool nod to that storyline, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to believe that yet. I think we're going to need a lot more information. One of the other theories that I have is now, of course, on the Walking Dead World Beyond, you have this elite group. They have, helicopters, they have weapons, they have all kinds of weapons cache, they have elite training, which is kind of what made me think of the CRM, because this guy is clearly ex-military, possibly special forces, and when you look at some of the militant side of the CRM, the Civic Republic military, these guys are clearly trained. They seem to like to take ex-military, like Huck. Of course, that's she was ex-Marines. But now, could the Reapers be part of the CRM, kind of a group that goes out there and just finds groups? Because if you go back to season 1, of course, what they're looking for is some of the brightest and the smartest groups. So maybe that's what this group is for. And in the CRM, clearly, you saw what they did at the end of episode 1, where they slaughtered that entire settlement. So maybe that's the type of powerful group that could have that type of control, that would force someone to kill themselves if they got caught, because they could have a hold on them. They could have this guy's family. So there's a lot of clues that could be this with the CRM, which made me think that by his training, his weapons cache, because I mean you don't just find grenades lying around. I mean, this guy has to have a camp. He has to have some kind of help. He's clearly not doing this on his own. But who is the Pope? I mean, could that be Kublek? Is she the Pope? I'm not quite sure that she's the Pope. That kind of seems, but I mean, she could be, because there's clearly a lot of things that could lead this to being the CRM. But I want to go to, and this could still be the CRM, but I want to go down another path. Now, Georgie. Now, a lot of people thought Georgie was with the Commonwealth. I mean, she kind of looks like Pamela Milton from the comics. So, and who knows? Maybe she still might be. But what if Georgie is part of the Reapers? What if she is the Pope? Now, the Pope, as the guy said, he said the Pope marked her. So, why Maggie? So let's kind of look back into what we know about Georgie. When she came in, you know, she met Michonne, she met Maggie, Enid, and then of course Rosita came up from behind with the twins, and got the twins and Georgie kind of locked down. But what were some of the things that were said during that meeting? One of the things that Georgie mentioned was, I don't care to share this with the weak. That kind of makes me think of the CRM, because they're looking for the strongest and the smartest to kind of build up, you know, the new world, to build up new civilization, to make things better, to get the best and the brightest. Interesting enough, that's what Georgie said she was doing. She was looking for, you know, the best to build up these communities, to share her knowledge and information that she had in her head, you know, the key. But another interesting thing about Georgie is she came to Maggie. She didn't go to the kingdom. She didn't go to Alexandria. She only went to Hilltop, and she spoke with Maggie. That was so she, why didn't she share, like, if she's going around looking for communities, why didn't she go to the kingdom? Why didn't she go to Alexandria? Why Maggie? Now, I know when they left, of course, they were living in Knoxville. That's what Maggie said in this episode. And Georgie and the twins went out west. Conveniently, she's not around, and her group gets attacked. Her settlement gets attacked. It seems like a lot of people were killed. They barely made it out. So now, conveniently, she's over, and maybe she is, you know, actually, you know, finding communities to better society going forward. But conveniently, she was not there. Now, let's say, you know, Maggie and Georgie are going around and they're creating these settlements and, you know, building them up with this knowledge and information and helping them go. But let's say Maggie's failing, or Maggie doesn't do what Georgie wants. Let's say Georgie is connected to the CRM. And you see how quickly the CRM will get rid of people if they're not useful to them, or they feel like they're threatened. Just like in season 1, episode 1, where they took out that entire settlement at the campus. So, what if Maggie did not do what Georgie wanted? What if Maggie did not follow through, and she was not, and she made Georgie look bad, or she made the CRM look bad? Of course, not knowing the CRM is there. But what if she failed Georgie? What if Georgie decided that she knew too much, and she decided that these settlements that were created were not working out, and they were a waste of time, and they knew too much, and she decided to take them out with this group called the Reapers. Um, what if Georgie is the Pope? What if she is the one pulling the strings and she sent him out? Remember, she didn't go to Alexandria. She didn't go to the kingdom. She chose Maggie. She chose the hilltop. She specifically went there. She of course left that milk crate with the, I think it was a balloon or something, or a flag or something, um, for them to find at the hilltop, specifically for Maggie. And if she's going around, searching for all these communities, you would have thought that she would have found the kingdom or Alexandria. These are kind of prominent communities, and for them not to find it, and why didn't she find the saviors either? I mean, it just seems odd that she specifically picked out Maggie with the hilltop, and then here we have the Reaper saying that the Pope marked you. And another thing about this guy, like, I don't remember hearing him talk. Maybe if one of you guys did back when he was the savior, this actor, I don't remember if he had any lines, or I think he was just a backdrop savior, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But in this episode, he clearly had some sort of an accent. I don't know if it was British. It was really kind of hard to tell because it was very quick. All he said was Pope marked you, but it did sound like there was some sort of accent to him. Which of course, I think, and I believe Elizabeth Kublik had an accent, and of course where she lived, she had the British flag. Of course, it was upside down, but I don't know if there's a connection there with the CRM with this guy, but he clearly has access to a lot of weapons. He has training, without a doubt. He's got to be ex-military, my opinion, special forces with what I mean, you've seen how quickly he took out Daryl and Maggie, and of course, Cole and Elijah were visibly, scared of this guy. So this guy has clearly put the fear of God into our group. So this guy definitely has some sort of backing. He clearly has training. Could Georgie be pulling the strings for this? Are they working for the CRM? I mean, why Maggie? Why did the Pope mark Maggie? Now, if this guy is a former savior, maybe when he gets back and he sees Negan, they'll play out with that comic book thing I told you about. But I'm kind of leaning towards Georgie has some sort of knowledge. I mean, she was conveniently not around. She was out west doing whatever she was doing. Of course, that could be a nod to the Commonwealth, and I cannot remember, but there was a group that they were working out with out west. But I kind of have a feeling that Georgie might be behind some of the Reaper thing, that maybe they're working for her because Maggie failed. I mean, why is Maggie marked? You look in her history. Who could she have pissed? She only could have pissed off the saviors, and Maggie. I mean, our group is behind her 100%. But I don't know, guys. I'm kind of leaning towards Maggie. I mean, Maggie being marked by Georgie, and also if you watch the trailer, there's this other guy named Maze, and you'll see Aaron and Father Gabriel in that episode. This guy looks like he may be connected to the Reaper guy that we just saw. Is he the Pope? I mean, he could be, but I'm not sure if he's the Pope, because from what I understand, this group is going to be around a little bit. I don't know how long, probably not the entire arc of season 11, but I can't imagine him going in and just being out in one episode. So, but I don't know. Robert Patrick's an amazing actor. I hope he has a bigger role in The Walking Dead season 11, possibly, because I love his work, of course, on the Terminator. But is he the Pope? Is Georgie the Pope? I would kind of have to think that the Pope, whoever the Pope is pulling strings behind the curtain, a la Wizard of Oz, where we don't see them. We don't know that they're the Pope. We don't know that they're giving these orders. which is why I'm kind of leaning towards Georgie. Who do you think is a pope? Who do you think are these reapers? Why are they? Why do they mark Maggie? Why are they? Did she do something back in Knoxville? Is Georgie upset with her? They, from what I understand, this group took out their entire settlement. I mean, this guy burned two of their friends over there, shot two more, tried to kill Maggie and Daryl. Was I'm assuming attempting to kill baby little Herschel. Who is this group? I'm very curious to find out who they are. I'd love to hear what you guys think on who they are. Just let me know in the comics. Another thing which I forgot that was kind of cool in this is Kelly when she was looking for her sister Connie, and she came across that truck, and we learned that Elijah also lost his sister too. And going back on what I mentioned was my favorite scene, I have a feeling that Elijah and Kelly are going to be very close, and I really liked how she's still using her sign language with Daryl, and really keeping that hope alive. And of course, when Maggie said that she hopes she gets to meet her someday, you hear Kelly say, "You will," because she's still confident that she's out there. And of course, we know she's with Virgil, which I don't know if we trust Virgil, but I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on with him. And finally, that scene where, well, two scenes I want to say that were very powerful, and that was the very opening scene where we see, Lydia. She's getting on the wagon with her group, and Negan, tells them to be careful, and as the wagon is going by, you see Negan, there, and then Maggie sees her, and that look was just powerful. That was intense. That was amazing, and there wasn't much said. It was mostly body language and facial expressions. Of course, Negan said, "Hey, Maggie," and you can tell he feels bad. But I mean, what really can he do? I mean, I'm not sure that I could coexist, knowing if I was in her shoes. But let's see how that plays out. And I also want to give a special nod to Judith. I mean, she was like, "Oh shit," because you know how she kind of had built a relationship with Negan, but I mean, Maggie's her aunt, and I think she didn't know what to do in that situation, and how she played that was absolutely perfect. And then the last scene, as Maggie and baby Hirsch, well, not really baby anymore, but Herschel Jr. and everybody are walking into Alexandria, and you see the devastation. What happened there? That's something I hope we get to see and learn more of in maybe the next couple episodes, but a really powerful moment. You see Negan's helping Alexandria. He's trying to rebuild it with the group. Carol is there, of course, and as they're walking by, you see Negan looking, and just that song, and you see little Herschel, who reminds me so much of Glenn, and they're just walking through. That's just powerful. And just a little nod to the comic. I'm going to let you guys figure this out, but on the wall, it did say "Silence the Whispers," but good. Check that out. It's really kind of a cool nod to the comics. And last, the Carol and Daryl, you can see there's a little bit of strain there, because Daryl didn't really think that it was necessary for Carol to say that, but Carol, to Maggie, of course, and let her know that Negan was the one who was there at the hilltop. But Carol was right. I mean, she needed to hear it, and I think that kind of helped soften the blow for Negan a little bit as to what happened. The dynamic. It's so good to have Lauren Cohan back. I mean, I'm such a fan of hers. I missed her when she left, but her return has been amazing. It's been powerful. The scenes have been intense, emotional, and I can't wait for the next episode. I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to get your feedback. Tell me what you think, and last but not least, I'm gonna start pushing my YouTube a little bit more. And one of the things I want to do is I want to give shout outs to my friends and what they're doing with their social medias, their YouTubes, and every time I make a video, I want to kind of give a shout out. I'm gonna announce it and telling you I'm doing this now, but going forward, you're gonna hear me announce somebody at the end of every one of my videos. It's just I just want to give back to my friends, help them out. And this one, the first one, I want to give a shout out to The Squawking Dead. Amazing podcast. They pulverize every episode. They do a great job at really kind of nitpicking the fine details of each episode, the comments, the actors, and you'll get Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead World Beyond. They have an amazing podcast. Their YouTube is great. You can find Squawking Dead on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. He has a Twitch. Highly recommend checking them out. If you have not followed The Squawking Dead, and I will put their YouTube channel link on there in the description, but it's pretty easy to find. Squawking Dead, check them out. I highly recommend it. Great content, and you will absolutely love them. They do contests from time to time, and just really enjoyable stuff. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have an amazing day.